Alright class, welcome back to Group 2 with our presentation for Family Home Evening Lessons. Today we're just going to give you a brief update on how our project is going. So the product selection, I guess the reason why we chose this particular project was because there's value in the conference talks. Well, really there's value in everything that we do in the gospel, but when we sit down with our families, this is a time to strengthen our family. And we do this by learning the gospel together and listening to each other's feelings and thoughts and ideas and enjoying activities together. Everything that's in a family setting we enjoy. And so with this project we want to create something useful and relevant. So we've been counseled to hold family home evenings once a week, whether they're on Monday or any day that suits the family needs. We should always use the time to create something useful and relevant for our family. And that's really the need. So the need is to, every general conference, every session that comes, we want to stay up to date with the teachings that we're given. So we want to continuously try to improve and become better as a family unit. We want to stay connected and we want to stay engaged with gospel principles and discussions. There's always a need in our families to continuously improve, and family home meetings are a great way to do that. Now, the feasibility of this project is we want to create 3 family home evening lessons, and that's really where we're all going to start. Each team member will create 3 that we can use within our own families. So we want to also have easy access to general conference talks. So we could use the internet, which is a common resource that many people go to, or if we still have Ensign subscriptions that come in the mail every month, we could also use those. So we have a physical copy. And these 2 ways enable us to incorporate these principles into our home and into our families. When we talk about the scope, we talk about, is this project necessary? And the answer is yes, because we've been counseled to follow the words of our leaders. We've been counseled to not just take those teachings and apply them into our lives, but to pray about them, to ponder them, and to study them, to find out how we can tailor those to our individual and family needs. Here, I want to read this example of a user story right here that one of our group members came up with. And I want to read number 3, which says, as a new member of the church, General Conference can be intimidating at times. Having lesson plans available will help me understand more about the messages that the leaders of the church are speaking and teaching us during General Conference. So I've thought about this a little bit, and I tried to put myself in the shoes of a new member of the church. So when we all get together, we talk about gospel principles like they're a big part of our lives, and some of us have a lot of experience to draw upon. But as a new member of the church, how can you explain such as the word of wisdom. How can you explain the word of wisdom to in a group setting where these people have been members of the church their whole lives? How could you? I can understand how it would be intimidating at times. And so having family home evening, having these lesson plans drawn up, it's a time where we can study these principles out more so in our lives so that we can learn and grow and we can gain a stronger testimony of these principles. I apologize, this one might be a little difficult to read, but here are the items that we will measure our quality with. We have project completion. Our goal is to complete the project within 4 weeks. We want to cover any contingencies. We want to maintain a budget, which usually there's not a whole lot that is required with family home evening, but the budget that we set for ourselves and for our family, we definitely want to adhere to that. Originality, we don't want to alter the content. We want to, especially if we're reading a general conference talk, we want to try to keep it as close to its original form as we can and not alter the words of the prophets. And then participation, of course, as well. We want the whole group, we want everybody to participate and really try to benefit from this project. The risk, do we ask ourselves, is there really any risks associated with family home evening? What could possibly go wrong from holding a family home evening? It's very hard to identify any risks that are associated with family home evening sessions because they are for our benefit. Some of the risks that may arrive, I guess kind of things that could get in the way, is just limited availability for one or more of the family members. But overall, family home evenings are simply nothing but a benefit for us as individuals and our families. Some resources that we're going to need, and this varies depending on how or what we have planned. We need a lesson manual. We most always need scriptures. We should always relate back to the scriptures in some way. Modern revelations from the prophets, a hymn book or a children's song book, supplies that will vary depending on the activities that you want to do with your family, and time. Time is the most important resource that we are going to need during the duration of this project and during family home evening. The prophets have promised us great blessings to those of us who follow this counsel to have family home evenings, whether it's half an hour, or 10-15 minutes. Some of these blessings that the prophets have promised us include greater faith in the hearts of the youth or our children, an increased ability to resist temptation, and a greater peace, love, and harmony in the home. And that's really what we want to seek. We want to seek a home that is peaceful, full of love, and everybody is in harmony with each other. As members of the church, we believe in setting aside at least one evening per week that is entirely dedicated to the family. Monday night is generally reserved for this time, but we mentioned earlier that it doesn't necessarily have to be on Monday. If everybody in the family is available on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, the important thing is that we're all together. And we need ample time to plan to have an opening prayer, a scripture study, a short lesson, and a song if we choose so, and an activity. We don't have to follow this general outline. We don't have to have all of these inside our family home evening, because all of this information that we're talking about is subject to change depending on our individual family needs. Here's kind of a critical path diagram of our project and some of the costs that are associated with these are materials. Generally, we're not going to spend a whole lot on some of these materials because they will already be included in our home, such as Ensign magazines, such as a children's songbook. So there are costs associated with those, but they're generally not specifically for this project because we will already have them available to use. Since the time put into these lessons will vary from person to person, we will allow for up to 2 hours to include prep time and lesson time. So we might suggest that the majority of the time spent during this project will be the research and the pondering and putting these lesson plans together rather than the actual lesson itself. If we want to sit down and we want to plan for a 30-minute family home evening, we might spend an hour or so coming up with a guideline, coming up with a lesson plan, designing the activities, and so forth. Time is really the major cost, and it's the major unit of quality control for this project. We want to have, or so as a group, as our team, we want to be able to make sure that we're fully capable of completing each step in this project. We're going to communicate with our stakeholders via email or text or whatever methods of communication that we have, because we want to make sure everyone is on the same page during the duration of this project. And here's just a little chart of our production value chain analysis. Overall, the project is going very well. We've got a great start. Each of our group members really feel and understand the need for this project, and so that helps everybody become united in the goal of having 3 family home evening lessons per person. And that about sums it up for this week. If you have questions, just comment and let us know how we're doing. Thank you for tuning in.